Neat deal. Hope I didn't
Can
lose
you hear me,
you.
Frank?
I can hear you now, man.
Yo, bro, how you doing this morning?
I am doing great. Look, as I'm driving down, good morning, Jeremy Duckworth. Good to see you, man.
You doing,
Good morning.
Yeah. As I'm driving down the Highway 11, as we call it, we used to call it Bessemer Superhighway, but Highway 11. As we're driving down it, I'm seeing a lot of different activity going on Highway 11, Brother Corey. What's happening, man, in the business
A lot of
district?
things going on.
Shopping?
A lot of things going on. Very exciting things. We're in the middle of a repavement of the Highway 11. That's something that hasn't happened in years, which is a great thing. There's a sidewalk program going on as well simultaneously with that. The other day, I saw the Birmingham City bus coming back through the shopping center. So now they'll be picking up patrons in the shopping center again and dropping patrons off to the shopping center again. The bus station is moving fairly well. It seems to be up and going to be running on time. And also, there's a new business on Highway 11 that's starting to make a lot of motion over there, and it's called the Serving Station. I see they just put out some pods and stuff over, and man, they got some real nice plans over there, man. So the change is there. The feeling in the atmosphere is there. There's a lot of people moving around, talking, and excited about the Western District again.
Let me ask you. You're saying the service station now. Where is that located now? Because I'm coming down into the 5 Points West community from, let's say, the post office, coming down Highway 11. The service station is where?
The service station location is 2440 Bessemer Road, and it's right next to the Firestone. And then when you come past the Firestone, you'll start noticing, hey man, what are those little trailer buildings out there for? And then that's where the surprises come in at, right? Those right there, that's where the magic is made, right there in those trailer buildings. They have 3 new businesses coming over to those trailer business, to that trailer section. And so one of them would be a Christian t-shirt company called Hartford Echoes. And if you're ever having a rough day and you just need a message and you want to spread positivity, that company there has that. So they're like the Hallmark cards of t-shirts. Chicken soup for the soul of t-shirts. So that's really crazy. Then we also have the Plant Lady, and she has a plant-based food program. Now, with her plant-based food program, it's totally different from what you would imagine it would be. Oh man, I don't want to try vegan food. I don't want to eat vegan food, but it looks so much like the natural food that you normally eat that it's scary that it's a difference in it. I eat that on a regular basis whenever she has food already out prepared. Man, it's crazy, especially her grits. She has this. I can't explain them to you. All I know is they're steel cut and they're yellow. Man, some of the best grits I ever had in my life. And also, we have a Yoni Steam bar coming. So for the young women who especially want to get ready for Valentine's Day, get the personal hygiene together, the Yoni Steam bar would be perfect for that. And lastly, it's going to be a place called Snow City there. This is where you get your water ice. If you're from Philly, it's called water ice, Italian ice. It's like it's a mixture of sorbet, shaved ice, and ice cream. So it's like all 3 of these people came together and had a baby. And it's some of the softest served water ice you can have. Full of flavor, packed with flavor, packed with influence, getting ready for the summer fun.
Now, I got to tell you, I'm sure Jeremy's mouth is salivating as he's thinking about this. This is it vegan food or what you call vegetarian or vegan food?
Right. So we're just gonna call it plant based.
Okay.
No titles on it. Yeah, we're not gonna put titles on it. It's gonna be plant based food for the soul.
Right. So you're right. We don't want to stereotype, right? We don't want to stereotype it and project onto it. But look, we're excited about it. Anytime that we see new development happening in the 5 Points West area, and what excites me about it, you remember, brother Bishop and Brother Duckworth. You remember about a year and a half ago, we were talking with Kevin Datcher about as we approach the World Games coming here, that the infrastructure that along the major inroads would be very, very important to us. That we would love, we wanted to see the sidewalks in good repair so that eventually we would be able to walk from downtown Birmingham all the way to the Crossplex without the sidewalks being broken. You all remember that, and then the roads being paved. And he told us, and the mayor told us that the mayor was, he told us that the mayor was committed to making sure that the roadways and travelways were going to be first class and world class. And they started with the center street. You remember that? And they had the widening and the center street, and it was beautiful. And so now for it to be coming down Highway 11 towards the Crossplex is really amazing. And so we're so glad to see that. And the sidewalks, you said that the sidewalks, you did see some of that happening in 5 Points West as well.
Correct. Yeah, so it's the sidewalk widening program. They've already done Lum Avenue, and Lum Avenue looks great. They added some additional piece to the sidewalk where it's elevated in some spaces. So I guess you have an opportunity to get a different view of the city as you walk, because you walk from a low distance to a higher distance. It's pretty cool.
Well, I love it, and I want to make sure that that we look at what's happened. The 20th Street, 5 Points Inslee Road, right there, that's been redone. Center Street coming across has been redone, and then you've got Lum, which is a major connector, and where the BRT is going to run through, that's being done. And so, I'm going to tell you, the progress that we're making as we approach the World Games is really amazing. We're more excited about the progress that's being made for the citizens that live over in this area. I want, Ms. Bishop, I want to talk a little bit about, so we're starting to see the world that we're in business-wise, where we're seeing more of these pods being used. And all going all the way into downtown, down Highway 11, 3rd Avenue, we began to see pods that are popping up. Is that something that we see as a viable way for businesses to begin the process of acceleration, let's say from a food truck or having a place that's in your home to moving out into a food truck or to a pod now, and then from a pod to a larger brick and mortar, or from a food truck to a larger brick and mortar? That sounds, Ms. Duckworth, like business acceleration. Is that a viable thing? And is that something that's happening across our country?
Well, it actually is happening across the country. And so it's so cool to see it being brought to 5 Points West in that area. And so we're super excited as an EDO to welcome these new businesses to the 5 Points West area. We just can't wait to have a grand opening for them.
Well, we're excited about it. Just as a reminder, that's one of the things that we do very well in our partnering with economic development organizations. The 5 Points West Chamber of Commerce, it is a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to strengthen and serve the businesses that are in the 5 Points west of Birmingham, traveling down our major corridors. And our goal is to serve every business that is in this area. And we thank God for our sponsors and for our investors who make it possible by investing in the 5 Points West Chamber of Commerce, so that we are able to do the greatest amount of good for the greatest number of people and businesses that are in the 5 Points West area. Every week we are meeting with businesses, we are talking with them, finding out what's going on. And so we've been excited about the growth that we've seen during the pandemic. Mr. Bishop, you've been here, Brother Corey, for a number of years. I think your father was in this area as well. I'm not sure that we've seen as much growth in the last decade or so as we have during the pandemic. Would you agree with that? What did you see during the last 2 years of the pandemic?
Well, I've seen the most growth I've seen in the area during the pandemic. So that speaks value for the area you move forward like that. In the most people are trying to down.
Yeah, we've got you in a bad we've got you in a bad section right now. Our frequency is a little scattered, but I think I was making out what he was saying was that he's seen more growth than he has in quite a while. Is that correct, Brother Bishop?
Yeah, give me 1 second and I'll be at the bad area.
All right. And so that's what I'm talking about. One of the things we've been able to do was charge. What was the reason for the growth, the success of the growth in the 5 points west of Birmingham area? What was the reason for success? One, we didn't wait on the state, the county, or the city to come in and work with businesses that were interested in locating in the 5 points west area. We went to them. We wanted to make sure that they did not have to find us. So as new businesses move in and that kind of deal, we went to them and we said, look, let us help you. Now, we couldn't do it by ourselves. So we had to partner with the Western Community Redevelopment Alliance and CARA. We had to partner with them to come in and help us and bring those resources that we often don't have in these smaller business districts. And we're very grateful for the partnership that we had with Ms. Duckworth and CARA and the Western Community Redevelopment Alliance. That provided capacity for us to grow our businesses. And let me tell you, the buzz is out there. Man, now, one of the things that people are most excited about is the business accelerator. And that we have been able to not come along and try to plant new businesses, but to not overlook the existing businesses, those mom, pops, those families that put their family equity into businesses in the Western area. And so what was amazing is that we were finally able to come alongside of them. And so we're excited about that as well. And so, Mr. Duckworth, how the accelerator's been going for how long, and is it growing, and what is new with the accelerator? Give us an update on it.
Sure thing. First and foremost, I got to say thank you to Corey Bishop, the Vice President of 5 Points West Chamber of Commerce. He was one of the founders of what we would call the Western Micro Business Accelerator. And so I appreciate Mr. Bishop so much. And he has his hand raised. And I will call on that hand. Corey.
I was just letting you know I was at that bad area, so whenever we're ready to talk, we can talk.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Neat deal.
Well, a couple things that's going on with the accelerator right now. Number one, we have 40 businesses that are part of the cohort, the second cohort. We got started back in 2020. We had a first cohort back in 2020, 2021. We had 13 businesses a part of that first cohort. We tripled that number for our second cohort to 40 businesses right now. And so what's going on right now is we had 12 skill shops last year. Skill shops last an hour. We're going to do 12 more. They're coming up pretty quickly. And so we'll have our skill shops. We'll have 6 more skill shops in operational management starting on February 3rd. We talked to Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter has agreed to do in person as well. So we'll have a hybrid. So we'll have in person and Zoom. So if you can't make it in person, we'll have a camera following Mr. Carter, who is a Lean Six Sigma Black Belt in operations and also logistics and operational management. We'll have a camera following him as well. So if you can't make it in person, you'll still get a chance to watch it on Zoom as well. So we'll have those workshops in February. We'll finish those in March. We'll have 6 more workshops in March as well in marketing. We'll start those on March 21st and go to May. One of the things that we've been playing around with and kind of experimenting with And we want to do this for a long time. And Mr. Woodson knows this. We've been talking about executive coaches, CEO mentoring for so long, probably at least 5 years now.
That's
But
right.
we were always afraid a little bit. Well, I can't speak for him, but I'll speak for me. I was always afraid to just jump at it, right? Because you got to have the right mix of not only the coaches, but also business owners, right? Because you can't do it with startup companies. You have to do it with existing mature businesses, right? And we've had some pretty good success with it. Mr. Bishop can attest to this, even with his own executive coach. Several businesses can attest to this. That the executive coach gives them a sounding board and a safe place to grow and a structured way to grow as well. And so it's been a great time to do it. And we're looking to expand that program as well. Well, expand that part of our program as well with the accelerator. So as your business is going through, as your business is receiving the hands-on help, going through the workshops, all that great stuff, you also have the executive coaching as well. And then to add to that, we have another component where we have access to computer technology classes like Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, Word, Google Docs, QuickBooks, where business owners can get one-on-one tutoring from a UA student in Microsoft Office, QuickBooks, or Google Docs. And so we'll have that program as well, starting back up again in February as well. So this is all part of our accelerator where you get hands-on help with the program.
Wow. Well, look, the reason I'm so excited about this, because I've had the opportunity to do a lot with leadership around Birmingham. And we know that when it comes to leadership, there are established leaders, proven leaders, and potential leaders. And so there's a lot of potential leaders that are within our community. Proven leaders have already been out there. They've been in the field. They've led teams and organizations successfully to grow and thrive in Birmingham and beyond. Established leaders are those men, those women that have grown wise enough and deep enough to make leaders. Now, these established leaders, they are not only proven, but they have influence over leaders that lead leaders. Our goal is, when we bring people and we put them before you, that they're not bringing you something that you can find on yourself, for yourself, that they're giving you insights and taking ideas and combining them with other ideas to create business strategies. That becomes so very important, having access to men and women that know their stuff. In other words, that when you meet with them, then they're able to take what you know and take it to another level. So if we're going to see our businesses accelerate, I think you are spot on. We've talked about it for years. The Birmingham Chamber of Commerce talked about it. The corporations talked about it. The Birmingham Business Alliance has talked about it. But no one has really figured out how to scale the bridge building of this huge, I call it bench of executive leaders in the Birmingham region who are now parking cars on Sunday, directing traffic, who we want to get them to release their superpowers into the business community. With them comes not only knowing how to do the business, but their gray matter. And then secondly, their contacts. And so early on, what have the reports been from those CEOs or executive leaders that have been involved?
They've been so excited, Mr. Woodson. I mean, it's almost like they can't contain themselves because they didn't realize how much these business owners were so much like them at an early age, right? And so they connect with them on a real level where it's not just, well, what's your business look like, but how's your family doing? And so it gives them a chance to just see them as people as well. And so one of the things that even Mr. Bishop shared with me before was a gentleman named Tom Jackson. And he told Mr. Bishop this. He said, Corey, I just want to live my life vicariously through you right now. And I want to give to you, right, what I did not have early on. And so it's really a transcendent type of thing going on right now that I don't even have the words to explain, but it's been an amazing feedback from our coaches, but also from our business owners as well.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's
Let me
been
jump in right
amazing.
quick.
Go ahead, jump on in, please, sir, because I was just about to flip it to you.
Yeah. So here's the thing. You say you don't know what to call it, but I like to say perspective change, and having a different perspective from a person like Tom gave me, the boost that I needed to see and do what I needed to do over at the service station, because he came over and looked at it, like you said, Frank, through a veteran businessman's eyes, where in which I'm looking at it from a baby businessman's eyes. So the ideas, the thought processes that we were able to collaborate on just gelled. And those guys, those mentors, man, they're like kids all over again, because it's a new baby they get the chance to take care of. So it's huge for them, man. And so big shout out to Jeremy and to you also, Frank, and all the mentors for being willing to come in and give a different perspective on business.
Wow. Well, we're so excited. We've got a special guest coming up at 8 o'clock. And so we've got about 3 more minutes. I wanted to say one of the things that we do when we work with businesses, no longer, one, we applaud you for being in business and for staying in business for longer than 3 to 5 years. You've done more than what 80% of the other businesses can do. You have made it. But that's not where it stops. We want to know, can you accelerate that business? Can you expand it? Can you grow it? Can you grow the revenue? Can you grow the capital investment? And can you grow the number of jobs that you are providing within the indigenous community? Some people look at folks and they say, wow, they make a lot of money, but they don't provide jobs. They make a lot of money. People have been doing that to underserved communities, being willing to come in and take the money out of the community, right? And it's amazing that sometimes when there's social unrest, that what you'll have businesses saying, hey, I'm a Black business, don't break my windows, or don't hurt my stuff. But oftentimes the people that the community knows protect the people. The ones that are involved in giving back in Little League and the nonprofit sector in the schools, those are our community businesses. And so we need them to grow. We need them to be healthy. But I'm not excited because a Black man, a white man, a brown man can come into our community and make money. We're so far beyond that. There has to be the continuous loop to where the corporations are giving back, that they're not only taking out of the community, but they're giving back. Remember, businesses don't bring money into the community. They bring services and goods. And they also bring the potential of community partnerships. And for us, that is important. Brother Corey, just what we're going to do, we're going to come back and we're going to talk just a bit more about some of the things we're seeing happening business-wise in 5 Points West and the growth that we've seen. We're seeing why the growth has happened, but we need outside partners who are willing to invest in our community. I don't care where you live. I care where you work, right? Who's investing in our community? Who's putting resources in? Who's building strategic relationships? At the end of the day, I don't want to talk about you making money. There's nothing miraculous about making money. Carpetbaggers make money. Hustlers make money. When you build your business, you build the community. Young boys, young girls are able to see men and women that look like them, and even those that are different like them. They see the opportunity in the pathways to building. So we're excited when we have these partners and organizations that come and join us. We're not out here. We are not the only ones. Mr. Duckworth, I'm back in your hands. But one of the things you constantly tell me when I say, who are your competitors? What competitors? And you say you're referring people all the time.
That's right.
Yeah, but we're in your hands, and please introduce your guests as you roll off of that response.
Well, one of the things people always ask me is who is your competitors? And it's a natural business question, right? It's not like they're trying to be messy, but it's a natural business question. And to be truthful about it, I just don't look at it like that because there's so much work to do. And honestly, there's so many small businesses and micro businesses across this county, across this region that we have to help that not one organization can't do it. They just can't do it. And so you have to have multiple organizations out there that are adding value to the small business community. And that's why I'm so thankful and so glad to have Lord Watson here this morning with us. Lord is the CEO and founder of the Penny Foundation. And so I'm so glad he can join us this morning. I believe he's on virtual right now. And so thankful for Lord's organization. They have a great program that they've been promoting. And Corey was a part of being instrumental in helping to bridge that gap for that program. And so again, Corey's like everywhere. Corey's in my program, Corey's in Lord's program. He's everywhere. So again, thank you to Mr. Bishop for his continued contribution. But Lord, man, good morning. Good to have you here.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Good. So you got the same situation I got. The kids in the background, love it. Pretty natural.
That's it. That's the way we work now.
It's a Thursday morning for Jeremy, pretty much. And so I understand that. But man, just had a couple of questions for you, man. And I also wanted you to kind of talk about your program. And so tell us, and just take about 30 seconds, about a minute. Tell us the history of the Penny Foundation and how it got started.
So the history of the Penny Foundation, it started with a couple of key dates. One, in 2003, when I joined a giving circle, I was a founder member of a giving circle here in Birmingham, Alabama, called the Birmingham Change Fund. It was 21 individuals. We put our monies together in a pool, and we started making grants in the community. And it was from that opportunity, it was from that organization that I learned about organized philanthropy, and I learned how unrepresented that Black people were in that space. You flash forward to 2010, I was in seminary. I was taking a study in African American spirituality, and I happened to come across a man by the name of Reverend Reuben Pettiford. Reuben Pettiford was the pastor of 16th Street Baptist Church in the late 1800s. And in 1890, he led a group of residents in Birmingham to start the first Black banking institution in the state of Alabama. The first bank that was started by Black people and ran by Black people, and it was called the Penny Savings Bank. And so what he did, he took an offering at the church. Then he would take up offering. He would take an offering for the church, and he'd take up an offering and for the bank. He went to other churches, did the same thing. They pooled those monies together, and they started making loans. Perspective, you know, this organization started in 1890. Smithfield didn't start to get built until around 1914. So without the Penny Savings Bank, you would not have the Smithfield that was built, because it made the loans to make that happen.
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
So I saw an announcement come out on Facebook, right? Mm-hmm. This is the second time this announcement has come out so far. So I saw this announcement. I'm like, man, this is amazing. And I was sharing it across the board, texting it to everybody, emailing everybody. And so it's called Future Forward, mm-hmm. Right? Take a few minutes and tell us about Future Forward, and also who is your ideal client for Future Forward as well.
Yeah. So Future Forward is a grant program for small businesses, micro businesses, businesses that have 10 or less employees. Our ideal target is going to be micro businesses, is creatives, is those single owner operator businesses. It's somebody who might have a great dream, who could use a little bit of resources to move that dream into a reality, so that they can grow. And so, you know, my ideal businesses, or businesses I love to see apply, are those businesses that might not be ready for traditional streams of credit or what have you, but who can, if awarded, can take this grant and leverage it to turn it into more resources to grow their businesses. So we recognize with the amount of money that we're giving out, you know, we can't change the world, but we can prop somebody up to the next level so that they can go and do and grow and build a business that they want to seek and have.
Well, I gotta push you a little bit, Lord. I think that you are changing the world because these grants right here make all the difference. So many times and all of us have seen this, and Corey can attest to this as well. That 500 or $1,000 could make or break him one month, right?
Mhm.
And that's just reality as you're growing your business and you're trying to scale it. You can have that one little piece of a funding gap and it can take you to a completely next level. And so you really are changing the world, man. And so we're so thankful for this program. How can people apply for the Future Forward grant?
Yeah, so you can go to our webpage, pennyfoundation.org under programs, and you'll see Future Forward, and it'll take you through the process. It's really a simple application. I'm not trying to make this cumbersome. It's really some contact information. You fill out the information about your business checklist. You can, when you're talking about answering, tell us about your business. You can either write it or you can video yourself and upload it. And so I want to make sure that our application is simple, accessible, and quick, because I don't want you spending a lot of time filling out paperwork that's not necessary. I want you out there making money for your business.
Brother, that's spot on. Tell us share, and this is I got two more things, and I'll let you go. I promise.
Yep.
Name some of the companies that received last year, and also kind of illustrate to us, what was the impact of those companies receiving that grant?
Boy, you can ask me questions at 8 o'clock in the morning. All right. So businesses that receive, I will say that my favorite was my young entrepreneurs who created these little small gift boxes that they would give out, and those would be mine is running. Okay, I'm gonna have to walk it back. So the business is in Woodlawn, right next to Tony Bell's, Popping Heads, Naughty but Nice. I knew I'd get there. So Naughty but Nice. Not so the owner, Naughty but Nice, her children applied for the program last year, and so they actually won a special award for applying. Youngest applicants I've ever had, 5 and 6 years old. Some of the other business, we've had businesses that were female-owned trucking companies, a female-owned trucking company, and she also mentorship as well, and how to move her business. We've had food trucks, we've had electricians, we've had plumbers. One electrician, it was from the first cycle, because this is the third cycle. We've done 2 others, and so we plan to do one in February during Black History Month, and we plan to do another one in August during Black Business Month, and to do biannual cycles. But one electrician was able to leverage the money that he won, $1,000 he won, and now has a contract at the Mercedes-Benz plant teaching electricians. So I can't even get him to come to my house to do work anymore, right? I tried to call him to use the services, and he can't do it. He got too much business, and so yeah. I probably should have been better prepared to have the names rolling off my head. I remember the types of businesses more so than the names.
Brother, that's good. That's really and really what we're going for is really to show the people that's listening and people at home, the audience, that it's not. Sometimes people hear these grant opportunities, they say, "Well, that's not for me." You know what I'm saying, Lord? Like that's not for me. But this is exactly for micro businesses. And so I wanted people to hear the diversity of the companies that received the award, and also the impact it made on them as well. And so, man, thank you so much for your contribution. We need your organization. I'm so proud of you and the work that you're doing. And again, thank you again, Lord, for being here.
More than one. Thank you for having me.
Well,
good to see you, Frank.
Yeah, man, Lord, always good to see you too. I want you guys to see something. Pennyfoundation.org. Pennyfoundation.org. Now, I got to tell you, some 12 years ago, you had a guy running around town talking about philanthropy and foundations and stuff like that. Of course, now, we're looking at them a little strange because most of us don't even know what a foundation is during this time, right? And certainly he was talking about this animal called the Black Foundation, and I'd never heard of a Black Foundation before. And so we saw the Change Fund, which was amazing to have young professionals to say, look, it's one thing to talk about changing the world, and then let's put our money where our mouth is, or our money beyond where our mouth is. And so the Change Fund did that. But I remember Brother Watson was thinking about, we need a foundation, and how powerful it would be to have a foundation. And now the foundation, I'm looking at the website, it is amazing. Tell Katrina, good job. No, I'm teasing. It's amazing. And so I want to know what's next for the Penny Foundation. Will you have donor directed funds that are there? Can I establish, and most people don't even know what a donor directed fund is, right? But when Bill Gates and these guys and Warren Buffett said, we're going to give away all of our money, well, they gave away all of their money to themselves, or not to themselves, but to a foundation. From that foundation, they're able to direct the resources. So they got the tax write-off, but now they're also able to do good. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Is that an opportunity we have with the Penny Foundation to create for our family a donor advised fund?
Yes. So the Penny Foundation is the third community foundation in the nation that's started by Black people and ran by Black people. And so we're unapologetic about who we serve. It's not that we're trying to exclude anyone, but we want to be clear about who we focus on, who we're working for. And so we offer services on two sides. It's the programmatic side, and any programs that we do, we try to find things that that's a connector that might not be happening, that needs to happen in order to move the whole community to the next level. And we do physical sponsorship opportunities through that. People have a great idea, but need somewhere to incubate the idea or try the idea out. They can use our 501c3 and we can roll them out that way. But on the other side, what Frank is talking about is this donor advised fund. And how I describe it is this. When you look at somebody like a Mark Zuckerberg or people who founded, your Google or what have you, they don't have their own foundations anymore. What they did was they got together and they created the Community Foundation of Silicon Valley, a multi-billion-dollar international beast. And so when they get ready to go to a country, they say, hey, foundation, we want to start making grants in this country. And then they go make grants in that country. And the next thing after their grants start getting there and they build a footprint, then they roll in their business behind it. And so they're very strategic. And so having this foundation is a tool that we have to be strategic. And so what Frank's talking about is donor advised fund. And so a donor advised fund is simply it's an IRS tax designated fund to where you can place money in it. You can receive immediate tax benefit from it. But at a later date, you can decide how you want to actually recommend those monies being spent, as long as they're sent to a nonprofit. And so say, for instance, you are a 60, 70-year member of a church and you want to make sure that church always has some type of support. You can actually create a donor advised fund that's directed to the church. And so as long as there's money in that fund, and it grows with interest. And so all these dollars are invested. And so it's not that you place money there and it sits. The goal is to actually grow the money and to make grants out the money at the same time as it grows. And so we have those. We have donor directed funds, scholarship funds. We also have field of interest funds for groups of people who want to get together, giving circles. We have a number of different funds that we can help people collect money and direct it to nonprofits and organizations, particularly working in the Black community.
Well, we really appreciate that. You know, one of the things we want to talk about, you know, and I'm having some conversation with the larger businesses around this area, is about how do we as businesses reinvest back into our communities. And I think that for this Western area, you know, a donor advised fund could be amazing, especially with us all putting in. And if we can see with partnering with that nonprofit to where we're seeing dilapidated buildings go away. We're seeing, you know, we're seeing not only the buildings, but other blight indicators being moved away. Placemaking projects and the like. We don't always have to wait for others to come into our community and to make the change. So, Brother Corey, we're in your hands. What's happening?
Man, first and foremost, I want to say thank you to Brother Watson, because he's really modest on a lot of things that he said. But the people who win a scholarship or win monies from your foundation, they tend to start giving to those foundations too. They tend to want to start helping other businesses too. So you are changing the world one business at a time. Now, as you do it one business at a time, you may not see it as fast as normal, but for everybody who I know who has received funds for you, now they want to give funds. So thank you again for that. Especially me. I want to become one of the biggest donors possible. But I do know that it doesn't take $1 billion to start. We can start with $500. So I want to pledge some money towards you. So me and you will talk about that in a little bit as well, because we've been blessed this year. So I want to make sure we continue to spread that blessing out amongst other people. So I will get with you later on and see about how to make those donations. Secondly, timing is everything. I spoke with Jeremy about that yesterday. And the paper came out, the city council just voted for outside eating, going back to what we were talking about earlier. They made a special vote for different sorts of outside eating. So with that being said, now on 3rd Avenue, Bessemer Superhighway, Highway 11, we have the opportunity now to be outside and eat outside like they do on the south side. So can you imagine that happening on the Western District? That's going to be so crazy. Think about Brother Walter's space. Now he can add a little deck outside and have breakfast outside. Top Deck Grill can do the exact same thing. All these places that we are familiar with now can put out an outside eating area. Imagine over on 20th Street in Ensley, if Green Acres was able to put out a little seating area outside for people to eat, to get people outside looking at the buildings. And what I've noticed is, if you're outside looking at the buildings, your mind starts to race. The creativity starts to come in. And that blight that Frank was speaking of changes, because now that we're outside having conversations, we're mixing with these different CEOs. Now we're starting to look at our area different. And we got funding coming from the Penny Foundation. We started thinking different. And we're able to accept different things. So, man, the effort that everyone is putting in is a grateful effort, man. If we can continue to each one teach one, bring someone else along, so they can see the future. And I love the fact that Jeremy and Laura have their kids with them all the time, and getting ready to direct the next generation of entrepreneurs, man, is really, really great. So just appreciate everybody. I know we're making sure everybody's time is being respected. So I'm going to close out with this. Always be childlike with your imagination. Dream of a kid-like future. Put a date on it, put action behind it, and the world will change. Lloyd is a witness to it. Like Frank said, it was 12 years in the making, and here he is today. My future was made the exact same way. Frank's and Jeremy's were all built the exact same way. I know Naughty But Nice was built that way. I know it for a fact. So continue to put down your dreams, continue to put dates on it, continue to put action behind it.
Well, look, I want the Penny Foundation to triple their investment in the 5 Points West area. And I want to, like you're saying, Brother Corey, I want a strategy. I want him to tell us when we get together on how we can make that happen, not how they can make that happen. but how we can increase as a community the investment back into our community, right? I cannot keep saying, man, you need to put more money over here, but we're not putting money in there ourselves. All right. And so if we can figure out how to create a fund where we are helping our small businesses grow, our community grow, that kind of deal. People can give to a fund. See, everyone may not want to give to your nonprofit or to your nonprofit or to my nonprofit, but a foundation is something that is trusted. Their auditing is continuous. They dot I's, they cross T's in order to maintain the status. And so it becomes very important. So 2022, for what you helped me do 10 years ago. And many people don't know Mission, Alabama started about 10 years ago during the disaster. And Brother Watson was a crucial part of that. And since that time, we've done well over $100 million going back into the community. So he's always given back his time into the community. Now I want to see what we can do as a community as well to help him help us. Not help him help himself, but to help him help us. So we thank you for being here. Jeremy, any parting words?
No, sir.
Well, Brother Lord, thank you so much, man. Thank you. Thank your family for your service to the community. You're out there fighting when we've been silent, focused on our own little worlds, and there's nothing wrong with that. We got to take care of our worlds and our families, but you've kept going. The question is, in 2022, how can we come together to help you make a greater impact on our community? So we're so glad that Brother Jeremy brought you on here and we had the opportunity to talk with you, man. And we wish you much success, brother.
Thank you for having me. Look forward to talking more.
You got it. And so that is exciting. Now, I tell you, one of the things we're going to do next is that we're going to plan a little bit and just, Jeremy, what I want to do is I want to have just an all financial services kind of deal to where we have some accountants that can that can talk to us about continually keeping our business on our money on our business and taking care of it, stewarding it well. And then also, I want to have some CPAs to talk to us about the tax benefits of giving money away as opposed to sending it to the federal government at the ends of the year. See, Brother Corey, and that's something that's so very important, that many of the folks that donate to one of my nonprofits or our nonprofits, they get to the end of the year and they decide how much cash that they need to burn off. And it's not tax evasion, it is tax aversion. How can we get more of our dollars working locally within our community? And so they do that through the nonprofit sector. So you get to the end, and so you have the type of accountants that work with you that say that you've got this amount of money going into the next year. You may need to burn some of that off. And so we need to talk about that. Our next financial services deal, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how your businesses saves money, maximizes the tax code, the policy that's there, and how do you look at going into that last month of your year? Your CPA ought to be able to tell you where you're standing and what's going on. And I want to know with our resident CPA, Ms. Pierce, Is that true or not? Is it possible that we could figure out how to do what I'm talking about with our end of the year cash or cash on hand or the like? If you would, Ms. Pierce, can you, let's see, are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. I'm all in your lane, right?
I love it though. I would say that you should develop a relationship with your team throughout the year. And so I know you mentioned about accelerators. So a part of that process is to have your team together and have your back office together. So those are conversations you should have regularly. I wouldn't wait till the end of the year because you can miss some opportunities. Like let's say this month, we need to have those conversations where we're gonna do January through March.
Mm-hmm.
How much you're gonna increase your sales? How much you're gonna increase that profit more or less? But I
Mm-hmm.
also wanted to say, since we are in the season of tax season, employers have a deadline coming up. On January 31st, the wage statements are due. So you need to get that to the Social Security office and also get those to your employees. And also business owners are getting ready to prepare their taxes. So it's key
What
that
are
you
wage statements?
like a W-2.
Okay, a W-2 or 1099 or something like that, right?
Yes, they're due by on or before January the 31st. So that's shortly. You want to avoid penalties because any penalties and fees that bleed into your profits. So you want to not pay any extra money when you can do your due diligence
Okay.
early. So I wanted to say we talked about in a meeting before choosing a tax preparer. So the IRS has some resources. So go online and verify that that tax preparer is an authorized e-file provider. Also read that article from the IRS on choosing a tax professional because it's important that a business show that they make money or show a net profit on their Schedule Cs because that really leads to a bank looking at you possibly ideally in a favorable light. So you want to make sure your tax preparer understands that process.
Well, that is so good. And I also want to say that from the nonprofit perspective, there are also statements that we need to send out as well by the end of January, correct? Such as the donor receipts and the like.
Oh, yes. The rules have changed a little bit. I know for Form 1040, I'm sure that's in effect that you can deduct some deductions above the line. That means that you kind of deducted on the front of the 1040. So yeah, it's some requirements for you to have a receipt. So I'll have to really get back to you to see what that number is, but it's always good to have a receipt for as the evidence of your deduction that you qualify for.
Yeah, it's one of the things we've done regularly because we don't forget, just talking, the nonprofit sector is also a business sector. So just like you're doing your 1099s or your W-2s, those people that donate to you throughout the year, they like to have their end of the year giving receipts, right? And they look forward to it. Churches the same way. Churches are businesses as well. And so when you have donors that are giving, it is good to prepare the end of the year giving receipts and giving them to people so that they can keep it for their records, how much that they have given or donated or tithed or pledged to nonprofit entities and organizations. So it's so very important. I think one of the things that I hope that we see in the coming year, these are kind of our closing remarks, but is that we think about tax season being, instead of April the 15th, tax season being January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. That if you are in business, tax season is year round, that we should be minding our businesses. And again, I want to encourage you, if you have a business, whether you can afford a CPA or not, you can still have a CFO that is non-resident to your business. For our technology businesses, we have a CFO who advises us as we go along, who is reviewing our books, our records throughout the year, and then looking at our tax situation as we come to the end of the year. And I'm going to tell you, it's a game changer. Many of my major donors do this, and it's a way. You're going to send those tax dollars somewhere. If they can go back into our community, then a percentage of those, then that's a really, really good deal. Look, our time is up. Brother Corey, as always, man, thank you for your leadership on ground with the 5 Points West Chamber of Commerce, man. You talk about Brother Watson being a difference maker. You are a difference maker in the 5 Points West of Birmingham. We're grateful for you. Last words?
No, I have any last words, but thank you so much, man. I appreciate you, and everybody have a blessed and prosperous day today.
Hey, thanks a bunch, and thanks all of you. We look forward to seeing you again for our next podcast on the third Thursday of each month. Take care. God bless. Have a great day.